Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM and broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games. With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes, Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZEVGamesAU.
My name is Evie, and we're hanging out in studio today. It's just you and me in here, those people out there. So we're hanging out. Z Games is a place where we talk about video games, we talk about gaming music, and we talk about other gaming-related content. There's plenty of that tonight. We've got giving a review on a fantastic game that's just recently come out called Moving Out. So stay tuned for all of that. After that, there is also Will. He is going to be reviewing a game called Arboria. He's kindly enough recorded that and sent that in to me here at 4ZZZ Studios. And before we get into any of the reviews, we get into the really fun stuff. We get to recap and listen to some of the week in gaming news. And there's been a lot happening. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. This week in gaming news, 5 Australian men have been charged with CSGO match fixing. Official charges have been laid against these 5 men following a police investigation. This soon follows an initial arrest of 6 players back in August 2019. According to the Victorian Police, 4 20-year-olds and a 27-year-old have been charged with use of corrupt conduct information for betting purposes. These charges relate to 5 matches in a CSGO tournament after investigation was prompted by a tip-off. They will face court in September on the 15th, with the potential for up to 10 years in prison. David Sharp, the soon-to-be head of Sport Integrity Australia, has said, "I had early discussion with a former esports CEO around integrity within their sport, and I am looking forward to engaging with them in my new role to work around the potential risks and threats." There has also been an increase in esports betting since traditional sports have been put on hold during the coronavirus pandemic. The ABC also reported that Australia's Sporting Integrity Intelligence Unit has been investigating links between organised crime and an unnamed Australian Overwatch team. YouTube snags PewDiePie. With so much competing for the streaming market, and with Mixer taking Ninja, Shroud and King Gothalion, then Twitch holding on to Dr. Lupo, Tim the Tatman and Lyric, now YouTube have made a deal with Felix Kjellberg, better known as PewDiePie. YouTube are also fully aware of his racist outbursts on stream, such as calling out racial slurs during a live stream and a situation that led to Campo Santo Games preventing him from promoting Firewatch. Despite all this, PewDiePie is still one of the biggest streamers on the planet, with over 104 million YouTube subscribers and over 25 billion views since his channel began in 2010. PewDiePie said in a statement, "YouTube has been my home for over a decade now, and live streaming on the platform feels like a natural fit as I continue to look for new ways to create content and interact with fans worldwide. Live streaming is something I'm focusing on a lot more in 2020 and beyond. So to be able to partner with YouTube and to be at the forefront of new product features is special and exciting for the future." Xbox Series X and all the details from Microsoft have been revealed. Ever since the Game Awards in 2019, Microsoft have been teasing us about its next-generation console, which looks more like a PC tower than we've traditionally known consoles to be. GameSpot have compiled everything you need to know about the Xbox Series X console in one article, which features information on the release date, hardware, the controller, games, specs, and more. Be sure to check out the Z Games Facebook page for the link to the article at ZEDGamesAU. That's all this week in gaming news. Interesting week in news yet again. So much happening. Interesting to see that there is some match fixing going on with CSGO. I guess it's not really that surprising based on how much money there is in the gaming industry, especially esports. Esports is a big thing, and with hundreds of millions of dollars pumped into it every year, billions even. I'm not that surprised. I am a little disappointed that it's Australians that have been caught doing this, and that's actually made international news. So that's quite disappointing. Aside from that, hopefully we can crack down on it and we can set an example of how to deal with people who do try to fix matches. So, yeah, rigging games is not fun. That kind of defeats the purpose of games. It's not really a game if you can rig them, personally. Anyway, another piece of interesting news that I didn't quite cover is that ID confirms it's actually separated Doom Eternal's from Doom Eternal's composer Mick Gordon. He had some controversy throughout since the release of Doom Eternal, where there was some comments made about the original composition from Mick, about his music not being very good, and that the mix being quite bad comparatively. As it turns out, there was obviously a bit of indiscretion between Mick Gordon and someone else at ID Studios, and essentially what's come of it is that Mick Gordon will no longer be making music for Doom, and that includes the music for the DLC that was to be coming out. So a lot of people are very upset. I am very, very upset. Doom is actually renowned for its heavy metal vibes and that mood, and to see his iconic music be treated poorly as well, in my opinion, with Doom Eternal, is quite sad, and to see the situation unfold the way it has is quite sad too. And I know that a lot of fans of Doom are no longer intending to purchase any more Doom products because a big part of it was Mick Gordon, and that's understandable. So it's very sad to hear that. In some more lighter, more exciting news, I don't know if anyone remembers Bionicle. I grew up playing Bionicles. They're sort of like, I played the Lego ones where you sort of build them together. There's like different elements. Well, there's actually a game, a fan-made RPG based on the Lego Bionicles being made. And it's been in development for the last 6 years. It's not out yet, but there is some trailers and there is some gameplay footage available. So if you'd like to take a look at that, just search Bionicle Quest for Matanui, Matanui, and you can take a look at that. There's also some more exciting news. The most exciting news, I think, in like today, this whole last week, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is awesome. Since Assassin's Creed Odyssey, everyone's been raving about it. I think there was even a meme going around for a while there. How could you fuse Vikings and Assassin's Creed to make the best RPG? And then not even long after that, I see Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't know if that was planned, but yeah, that's so cool. We've got some good stuff, exciting stuff coming out. Yeah, and that's pretty much the week in gaming news. I'm going to let past me discuss. I reviewed Moving Out this week, and I've been playing it with my housemates, so let's have a listen to how this awesome experience went down. So today I'm going to talk to you about Moving Out, which is a game developed by SMG Studios and published by Team 17 Digital. The audio and music is done by Lenny Michaelis and other various artists. The platforms are PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PC, Windows, and Mac. It came out on the 28th of April this year, 2020, and it's a action multiplayer couch co-op. They are also pretty well-known SMG studio for Overcooked, which I'll be making some references to throughout this review. So let's begin. So the Smooth Moves Furniture Removalist Company hires you and your friends to move furniture. Moving Out is a game, you guessed it, about moving out furniture of houses with friends. It's set in a small town featuring 30 main levels, all removalist locations, however you want to look at it, where you must hone your ability to move things quickly and efficiently. Being a game heavily focused on cooperative play, there isn't too much story to dive into, and much story that there is, I'm going to leave to you to discover when you play it. However, the dialogue between characters is rather comical, pulling out jokes related to how much stuff they broke while moving things, or the irony of certain situations you might come across during a particular move. Moving Out has like a similar art style to Overcooked, with this sort of sweet 3D animated characters that strangely make you think, well, at least it strangely makes me think about the animated series Noddy Toyland Detective. I don't know if anyone remembers that. It also takes loads of influence from the 80s, making this game feel a touch retro, giving shout-outs to 80s films like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So you can take a look at that and see if you can pick out any other Easter eggs when you play. Once you are well and truly in the game, you discover the main objective, which is how fast can you move out. It uses a tiers system consisting of gold, silver, and bronze, gold being the fastest time and bronze being the limit for your progression, meaning that you must attain at least a bronze medal on each level to progress any further. There are also extra achievements for each level, such as don't break any glass or break all the glass. And from a mechanics perspective, you must pick up appliances, tables, beds, and other such household items, then carry them to your removalist truck. However, this is always easier said than done, even in real life. Some of the items require you to have a second person to carry, such as a couch, or maybe a fridge, or maybe someone needs to distract a disruptive turtle that is running around preventing you from getting to the truck. Your player movement is not particularly smooth, meaning it requires some concentration to get yourself where you'd like to be, and not to mention the art of loading the truck is a game in of itself. The controls are simple, making it easy to learn, and designed in a way that anyone familiar with a console can get the hang of quickly. You must jump, grab, throw, and even slap your way to victory. The game requires teamwork and coordinated planning to get the shortest times, and obviously the more players involved, the easier it is, not to mention the strategy needed to deal with awkwardly shaped objects like L-shaped lounges or pinball machines. In saying that, the more players involved can also mean more yelling. As you progress further into the game, you are no longer just moving people out of homes, rather experiencing weird obstacle courses where you are trying to move items across sinking platforms, or in some cases, chasing chickens and pigs. Just as you start to get the hang of it, the game throws weird curveballs at you, so it's always challenging you. Every level will show you and introduce something new to you, which is perfect. It's similar to Overcooked in its design in that way, catching you off guard and increasing the level of strategy needed to succeed. My only point of contention is that I wish that there was an online mode, as currently it only allows for local play. So if you're looking to play with friends in different places, I wouldn't recommend. However, if you have housemates and you're looking to diversify the things that you get up to during ISO, I would 100% recommend this game. The soundtrack for Moving Out is always keeping you in a good mood. It's really hard to be mad at your friends when you're so busy grooving out to some awesome 80s vibes. You may even recognize the songwriter Lenny Mack, also known for co-writing the song The Touch with Stan Bush in 1986. However, in 2019, Lenny joined forces with SMG Studio to deliver you the best body moving tunes while you're moving hooms. Okay, that wasn't very good, but that's essentially what's happening. All in all, it feels awesome when you execute a plan and you achieve the time that you'd set out for, or when you collaborate before attempting a level for the 100th time. Moving Out is moreish and exhilarating, especially when it comes to building a bond with your housemates, provided you don't swear at them too much and they make you do the dishes for an entire week. That did not happen to me, I swear. Moving Out is so much better than actually moving out, and I recommend this game to anyone who enjoyed Overcooked or enjoys any classic co-op, especially because anyone can play this. I hope you enjoy this review, and I hope that you enjoy Moving Out. I highly recommend. Again, it's developed by SMG Studio. It's published by Team 17 Digital Limited. The audio is by Lenny Mack and other artists. You can check out their Spotify, type in Moving Out, and you can listen to the awesome 80s vibes. It's available on PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PC, Windows, and Mac. And it's a multiplayer couch co-op, so I hope you enjoy. Well, I hope you enjoyed that review from Past Me. It's a fantastic game, Moving Out. I've still been playing it since the review, which is a very good sign. Something that I actually forgot to mention about Moving Out was that it actually has this assist mode, which is if for some reason you're really struggling with a particular type of thing in the game, you can actually turn this assist mode on, which will give you extra time. It will give you a bit more leeway. There's other features you can disable and enable as well to sort of make things a little more gentle on you if you're really struggling. That I really like about it as well, because my housemates, they're not game players particularly, and they're really, really enjoying Moving Out to the point where you can play it on your own. I mean, I don't know, I didn't find it as enjoyable to play on my own, but my housemates seem to enjoy playing it by themselves. So yeah, I hope you enjoy checking that out. It came out on the 28th, so it's only been out for a short period of time, and yeah, I really enjoy it. We are now about to experience something pretty cool. Will has been playing this game called Arboria, which is coming out tomorrow. So that's the 7th of May if you're listening to this at a different time. He's been lucky to get some early access. So let's have a listen to Will's review of Arboria.
Today we're going to be reviewing Arboria, a third-person roguelike, third-person action RPG game developed by Dreamplant and published by All In Games. You'll be able to find this game on Steam for the PC on May 7th. So Arboria is a third-person roguelike. Basically what that means, for anyone who doesn't know, is it's a game where every time you die, everything resets basically. And you have to start over to a certain degree. And this is one of my favorite genres because it's very hard to develop good, but it can lead to some really interesting things. Whenever you're talking about anything that is procedurally generated, you're kind of rolling the dice, hoping for something well. But usually when you nail it, you really nail it. And I have to say, I was enjoying this game a lot, but we're going to get into why. So, the narrative of this game is you're a tribe of Jotuns who are facing extinction. Basically, Jotuns, if I understand from my Nordic heritage, is a form of trolls. So basically, you're a bunch of trolls who are facing extinction because of the father tree, the source of all life, is sick. You're going to become the chosen one who's going to save him. You're going to leave the safety of the refuge to venture down through the hole into the vast and ever-changing land of Dunar, the underground world, which is full of dangerous mysteries, and the only way to go is down. And this game leads into some very, very, very interesting environments. With the whole concept of you going down underground, you can basically see that the whole game is just you in a tunnel. You're in a giant ass cave with a bunch of weird plants and bugs, and it's just all around crazy, which is something I haven't seen before really. You have some games that are kind of like going that direction with like Gears of War, where you're underground, but I haven't really quite seen this environment before, which makes it quite spooky, but really cool and really nice. Jumping into the gameplay, so as we said, a roguelike is a procedurally generated game basically, and that's something they do very well in this game. So you be exploring through all of these tunnels with your little minimap, but everything is shown as squared rooms, making it really easy for you to navigate and find your way, and also kind of see where you've gone before, leaving you not ever lost ever. You're always knowing where you're going, which is something I really like, being someone who just rushes around and likes to find every nook and cranny that I can get my hands on. Each room you get into is also specially fitted with either a monster, a little secret, or one of these roots that you're going to be healing, which then causes waves of enemies approaching, which you have to take out. Sort of like a Binding of Isaac almost, leaving you to really have to think about how you use your HP and regeneration and stuff like that. Secondly, the game features symbiotic weapons and mutations. So instead of having games where you just pick up a new weapon, a new armor, this game lets you combine, for example, a power-up like a power fist with frost. And I can tell you guys, it was really satisfying getting like a power fist where I could shoot a shockwave at the enemies, but then all of a sudden I found ice, and I just got like ice spikes coming out of the ground, leaving for some very interesting tactics, which I will be getting into when we come to the combat. The game also features extensive personality. All of the characters in this game are really goofy. You can kind of see a fun combination of the environment being really dark and serious, but the characters being really goofy, and it just gives a kind of a cool little symbiotic relationship where you don't take the game too seriously, but the game is still in a serious note. Going into the personalities of this as well, after every encounter, you're faced with the gods, which you have to sacrifice some of the currencies you can get in the dungeons to keep them happy. This then also ties into your character that you're picking also has a personality or stats or traits and stuff like that. So, for example, I hadn't donated anything to the gods, which made them very, very angry at me. So the characters I ended up with to choose between weren't really good. And this caused some interesting effects because let's say I want to give myself a challenge. Well, then I can just not donate anything to the gods. My characters will not be as good as they could be, leaving the gameplay to be harder and me being able to challenge myself, while also saving that currency and able to use it for other things. So you get a kind of cool dynamic there where you have to choose, do you want to get a stronger character? Do you want to save money? What are the payouts for that? And it was really interesting. In one of the runs, the only thing my character had as an extra trait was that he was colorblind, which didn't do much difference because it was very dark down in the caves anyway, so it wasn't much to see. But anyhow, jumping into the combat as well. So the combat in this game is very much like you would expect from any third-person roguelike. You have your typical rolls, you have your typical dashes, but it adds in a little bit of a different flavor because you have these abilities or symbiotic abilities where, for example, you have a power fist, you can combine it with frost, and then all of a sudden the way you play changes up. All of a sudden you choose to maybe dodge more or jump in to do more fights with people or with the enemies because you can frost them all, so you can stun them, so you can do combo damage to them. And that's something I really, really, really like with this game. As well, it's combined with having traps in these rooms where sometimes you found, like, for example, a plant trap that would shoot spikes up out of the ground. So for that, I found a tactic where I could lure the enemies close to that, use my power fist to push them into the spikes, and all of a sudden I had a tactic. But then I met another enemy that just jumped out of it. And I think that's where this game really shines as a roguelike, is because everything being procedurally generated, you really have to think about the playstyle you're choosing to have. You have to see the pros and cons with everything, and this caused the gameplay to be really dynamic and really fun to try to engage yourself in. Switching over to the audio for this game, the game was in early access, so there was a lot of audio to be missing, but they had all the ambient sound in there. It sounded really nice. It really sounded like you were going through the tunnels. You had the leaves rustling because there's some sort of wind in the tunnel, I guess. It has the soundtrack is really mysterious, and you really feel like there's a swing to all of the attacks you do. And when you hit enemies or when you manage to kill enemies, it just sounds really pleasant. But I do hope that we get to see some voice acting. As I said, the character personalities are definitely a selling point in this game, and I do hope that we get to hear some voices for them. I think that would be super interesting. The only real complaint I can have about the game is you have this little pixie character that is following you around. That is more of a story element than actually gameplay. And the wings on this thing, I just want to shove that pixie away because the wings were just constantly flapping and flapping and flapping, and it was like having a bug in my ear. But after playing a little bit, I kind of got over it and just ignore it. but that's probably the only thing I could say that I would change about this game. Please let me mute this pixie. Thanks. Overall, the experience with this game was amazing. There was some points where I was feeling frustrated about the gameplay not making sense to me, but the more I played it and the more I got into it, I could really see what the devs were guiding me to do. And as I said, the procedurally generation really came in handy and let me really think about the playstyle. So when I managed to pick up the combinations that I wanted, they really fit my playstyle, I was having a blast. And when I couldn't quite find the things I wanted, well, then I had to improvise. And the gameplay was just so dynamic that every time I played, it felt like I was playing a new game almost, which is very hard to get, but it's a very good sign when you're making a roguelike. I'm very interested to see what the devs are going to be continuing building on, and I'm definitely interested in hearing how the characters are going to sound, and if they're anywhere close to how they're sounding in my mind. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Will, for that insightful review of Arboria. If it sounds interesting to you, it does actually come out officially tomorrow on May 7th, so if you'd like to check that out, I highly suggest it. Well, now, I guess it's coming to the end of our time at Z Games this evening. However, before I go, I would like to have a brief discussion about an article that I've been reading called Mother's Day 2020, The Best Cooperative Games to Play with Your Mum. Now, I know my mum is listening tonight, and we played a game recently together called Villainous, which is a tabletop role-playing game, and you basically play as Disney characters. You can play as Cruella de Vil, or but they have to be villains. It's not like you play as the hero, like, yay, I'm Little Mermaid. Yeah, no, stuff that. You're the bad guys. You play the bad guys because the bad guys are cooler, in my opinion, and I've always thought the bad guys are cooler in every game. I mean, not game, Disney series. So, this game is about playing as them. I played as Jafar from Aladdin. My mother played as Queen of Hearts from the real old school Alice in Wonderland. And my partner, Natalie, she played as Ursula, which is quite possibly the most hideous villain in all the Disney realm, from Little Mermaid. And it takes a little time to get used to. It's a little challenging because there's obviously a lot of rules, a lot of conditions, and everyone's got to play as their own. You've got your own agenda, basically. So I play as Jafar, and I'm trying to obviously sabotage Aladdin, and my ultimate goal is to get the magical lamp so I can have Genie, right? And make him mine. You can also get your little helpers, like I have my little bird and other warriors or whatever from the Disney show, from the Disney film, to help me. And my mother and Nat will also have their own little overarching evil scheme that they have to complete. And basically how you play against each other is you've got to try and sabotage each other's plans. Now, it took a good, I'm going to say, hour for us to actually figure out how to play before we could really start enjoying and getting into the role. It says that it takes an hour to an hour and a half to play. It took us close to 3 hours for one game, purely because there's that learning curve. Now, with all tabletop RPGs, there's usually a learning curve, but it went pretty well, I think. And my mum actually won. She beat me. I didn't think that she'd be that good at role-playing games, and I'm saying that now purely because I know she can't answer back to me. But I will get you next time. The next time we're playing, I will win. Just letting you know that now. Anyway, Villainous. It looks really good. It is really fun. Definitely take a look if you're looking for a board game to play with family or with your housemates, especially since everyone's looking for things to play at the moment. And Mother's Day is coming up, so maybe teaching your mum a tabletop role-playing game. Maybe get her into Dungeons & Dragons, some D&D, you know? Who knows what could happen? Mum might be a secret nerd, or maybe your mum is a nerd and she showed you how to play games, because that's just as much true. I know that my sister-in-law, who's much older than me, she got me into Diablo when I was very little. She used to play Diablo 1 and 2, and I loved that.
Very, very much. Yeah. Other games that you should look at playing, I also reviewed Moving Out recently, today even. That's another great game that I would recommend playing with your mum if you've got a Nintendo Switch, because you can put that assist mode on and you can take things a little more slow. You don't have to rush it out. If you do start yelling at each other, just remember it's a game. Because yelling can happen when there's games involved. Especially when it's family. Anyway, I think that's all from me. I hope you enjoy your Mother's Day weekend. And if Mother's Day has passed for you, wherever you are listening to this, then I hope it was a good one. But on that note, it's been really fun. I hope you enjoyed the reviews this evening. And I look forward to catching up with you guys next time. Stay safe, play plenty of games, and yeah, see you around. Thanks for listening to Zed Games. If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify or follow us on social media at ZEDGamesAU. See you next time.